Today, Jen Psaki concluded her 16-month reign as chief spokesperson for the Biden White House. But she won't be out of the public eye for long. Reports indicate she's off to MSNBC to eventually host a show for the network. Now, I've been critical of Psaki for continuing to remain in her position, even though she clearly has a deal and allegiance to NBC and MSNBC. But Psaki's reported new gig brings attention to a dynamic which has gone largely unacknowledged by most in the left-leaning media: the revolving door between the Biden administration and CNN and MSNBC. It was something they were hyper-focused on during the Trump administration. Many in the Biden White House have previously worked for one or both of the major left-leaning cable news networks, and so far it seems like those departing are headed right back to their old stomping grounds. It's worth noting that not only is Jen Psaki following her White House job with a move to TV, she also spent 4 years as a CNN contributor before joining President Biden's staff. But Psaki is only one of many Biden officials with a cable news connection that almost no one in the left-leaning media seems to want to talk about. Simone Sanders, who just left her post as chief spokesperson for Vice President Kamala Harris, has also signed on with MSNBC to host a show, which actually premiered last weekend to dismal ratings, by the way. And like Psaki, Sanders, too, was a longtime CNN contributor. And Karine Jean-Pierre, who is taking over as press secretary for Psaki, also worked as an MSNBC pundit for 2 years before joining the Biden administration. In that role, she blasted Fox News and Republicans. And these are just a few of the many administration staffers who were plucked from the cable news world. Secretary of State Tony Blinken was previously a global affairs analyst for CNN. So too was Susan Hennessy, who was just tapped for a post with the Department of Justice. Sam Vinograd, also a CNN alum who joined Homeland Security. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm was a CNN contributor, and on and on and on. Now, this type of thing is not unique to the Biden White House. Former President Donald Trump's administration also had a chummy relationship with the right-leaning media, whether it was Morgan Ortagus or John Bolton or Kayleigh McEnany or numerous others. But when it was Trump and Fox News involved, the mainstream media was extremely quick to call them out. Look at these headlines. The New Yorker, the Washington Post, others, all highlighting the revolving door between the Trump administration and cable news. How about NBC? Terrible for America. All these major outlets going after the Trump administration. Now, look, it's a fair question to ask about the relationship, in that case, between Trump staffers and Fox News. But where are those same outlets now? Why isn't this just as troubling under Biden as it was under Trump? You hear hardly any criticism about it from the mainstream media. Yet the same ethical issues exist. The questions that many will ask is, how can a media outlet fairly cover an administration in which so many former colleagues are serving? Could there be some direct collusion between journalists at these outlets and their pals in the West Wing? And if media commentators see so many of their peers getting White House jobs, might they be inclined to deliver some friendly commentary in order to impress the boss and potentially score a gig? I was alerted to this issue by an article by Colby Hall. He's the founding editor of Mediaite.com, which I launched. He's also a NewsNation contributor. His article was called "The Cable News White House Pipeline Was a BFD Under Trump. Why Isn't It Under Biden?" By the way, BFD is like an edgy website acronym for a big deal. Colby, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for selling out my headline.
Yeah. Talk to us about the double standard.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's something that's existed for a long time. However, this deal with the Biden administration and sort of a revolving door between CNN and MSNBC has gone with zero scrutiny. And it was a real obsession, as you said, between Fox News and Trump. And you know, I think there's just this sort of cool kids table vibe that they don't really want to let anyone in. They're so in on their bubble that the hosts, the pundits from cable news, go to the Biden administration, and it's just assumed that that's the way it's going to work, and the admin people leave and go get TV shows, and you know, we just accept it as it's supposed to be.
What's interesting to me is when it's happening on the left, they are also seemingly getting bigger gigs, right? I mean, they're hosting their own shows, right. And with the Fox folks, I mean, it's been a long time, and I'd have to go back and think about it, if ever, where someone literally gets hired and gets their own show.
Well, I think Tony Snow.
I was thinking of Tony Snow.
Yeah. And he was more of like a replacement interim host, I think. Yeah. Dana Perino eventually got her own show, or co-hosted a show. Kayleigh McEnany right now, but that happened after. And you know, there's no, Jen Psaki, I think, future historians will look at Jen Psaki as being one of the best press secretaries. I mean, I think she had some ethical issues that you called out fairly, but being good at a press secretary doesn't mean you can host a show. Hosting a show requires a whole different set of skills that it's not clear that she's going to be able to pull that off. And if you look at what Simone Sanders did in her first weekend, the evidence suggests
and she had a big guest, right? She had Jill Biden, I think.
Who was on the cover of People magazine. Right. They got all behind it, and the world didn't really need Simone Sanders' hosted show. Now, it was the first show, and so, you want to build some momentum and fairness to her, but I thought Simone Sanders was a terrific pundit on CNN. She was, concise and passionate and not afraid to fight back, but a host requires a whole other skill set.
Right, because as a pundit, you're taking a position and you're like one of a number of people, right? And you are there. She served a role, right? It's very different when people are tuning in to come see a particular person, and we'll see if it ultimately works. There's been pushback also within NBC about some of these hires as well, with the NBC folks still believing somehow in the bubble that they live in that, we're not viewed as biased. It's just the MSNBC folks that are viewed as biased.
Well, it's an absurd idea that, there is this idea that there are opinion shows and there are news shows, and there are still a handful of shows that abide by some accepted standards of journalism. But MSNBC is pretty much no different from Fox News in that it's pretty much opinion advocacy journalism nonstop. So it's a good place for Simone Sanders, for example, to be Simone Sanders. I'm just not sure that there's a market for people that want to hear what she has to say about these issues. That's a pretty well-stated market.
Well, look, I think it was a very good point you made in this article, and as I mentioned, you drew my attention to this issue, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.